Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater. This is my review, my what I think of Disenchantment, Season 1, Episode 2, For Whom the Pig Oinks. I was a little bit curious with the last episode where they were going to take it. Was this going to be more of a serialized story or going to be sitcom episode based? And it does appear that they're going to go serialized, which is good. Keeps a consistent story going. Now, this episode, according to the Wikipedia description, because that's what I'm reading off of here, Bean, Elfo, and Luci are rescued by Montgomery, who takes them back to Dreamland. Elfo is taken in by Cesario, who wants to use his blood to create more magic so Zog can gain the elixir of life. At Lucy's suggestion, Bean approaches Montgomery with the idea of having a bachelor party before the marriage. She also discovers Zog and Sorcero's plan to drain Elfo's blood so they use pig's blood to fool them. At the bachelor party, the entire crew travels to Mermaid Island in hopes that Montgomery will be killed by the mermaids. He is instead taken by walruses who've saved them from murderous borks, though they turn out to be the allied Bozaks. Bean ultimately loses hope. However, a thirsty Montgomery discovers the elf blood, which is mostly pig blood used and Elfo convinces him to drink it, transforming him into a pig. Bean, fed up, denounces the marriage to Zog, and Zog finally agrees with his daughter. This upsets the king of Bentwood, and he and Zog settle things in a fistfight with Bean, Elfo, and Lucy happily watching and also drinking. Now, this episode, I'm having like a little bit of trouble getting into it, right? Like a little bit of trouble just because of the way it's playing out. I'm all like, again, kind of, these are the first two episodes. So I think after this is going to get going a bit more. I'm just having a little bit of trouble. It's not that I don't like it. I actually do. I'm enjoying myself watching it. The background jokes are where it's at. But that being said, it's just like, what is it that they're trying to tell me? What is it that they're trying to say? So at the beginning of the episode, if she jumps off the cliff, she ends up getting like stuck on a branch. Montgomery and his guys fight one of the trolls that was wounded by Elfo during the battle from the first episode. What I loved about this, though, was the Washmaster comes out and he's like, gentlemen, this is a plateau of peace, not battle. And he sits down, like goes into like his monk type pose and is like, home. And then the troll just picks him up, like gently picks him up, positions him over the edge of the cliff and drops him, which again, I thought that was actually pretty funny. And then Bean and Elfo and Lucy fall and end up, eventually crashing into Montgomery as he is trying to find where their bodies would have landed. He then captures them and takes them back. And of course, that you find about the elf blood and all that stuff. And this is where like it got a little interesting to me is like they want there to be Dreamland first advertises 5 drunken village idiots, which I thought was funny. And then it covers it up and says they have a magical elf. And then they turn the magical elf into more of like a jester sort of thing. But then like, no, let's get the elixir of blood, the elixir of life. But the blood that Cesario exhumes from Elfo is like starts killing everything. Like that's the whole thing, is trying to it starts killing people and killing animals. And Lucy's just having fun because he's eating all the dead animals that are left behind. And of course they drain him dry. And then if they don't get more blood, then, Zog is going to like have him ground into paste and try that, which then gives Bean the idea of using a pig after she witnesses pigs basically just eviscerating a human corpse. Which, again, is a sight gag that I think would go over the head of many people out there if you don't know that pigs are incredibly cannibalistic. If they are hungry enough, they will eat their own. You can feed humans to pigs. There's that line from the movie Snatch from 2001, where the guy says, "Always be wary of a man with a pig farm." And so like it shows the trough and 2 pigs, and they're making fun of that scene, the iconic spaghetti scene from Lady and the Tramp, and they get ready to kiss and they're sucking down intestines. Like they're sucking down intestines and you see like a corpse right there. So again, it's a little bit darker, it's a little bit crazier, but you see like, again, everything in the show, the devil is in the details, and the details are definitely there. I thought that was really funny. And then of course they get on the party barge and takes him out to Mermaid Island. And I thought that was an interesting thing too. I actually really enjoyed that particular part of it, where it's like, it's the sirens, the song of the mermaid to drag people out into the sailors jump ship in order to go be with the mermaids, summoning them to their deaths. And they get up there and there's like 2 islands. It's Walrus Island and Mermaid Island. And as they get closer, all the men tie themselves to the mast of the ship so they cannot be, they won't run. They won't seek out the mermaids, you know, they get the pleasure of the song. They get the thrill of potentially near dying from the hypnotic spell. And of course, not, you know, they're safe in the end. But Bean wants this to be the plan to get rid of Mercumer, right? To send him out there, to have him be, killed by mermaids in a gigantic mermaid orgy. And of course, Elfo won't do it at first, right? He won't cut the rope. He won't put it in a slip knot. He doesn't want to be bad because Elfo's a good guy. That's the thing I like about Elfo. Elfo's like trying to be good. And of course, you know, she goes and gnaws on the ropes and Mercumer gets free. And as he gets free, you realize that it's not mermaids. It's in fact walruses. And they have this very sweet song, actually. And he goes over there and he just gets ravished by like 30 walruses. I mean, they give it to him. They really do. And you think that he's dead, so they start heading home. And then, of course, they see the ship and they think it's the Borks. And so so then all of a sudden Mercumer shows up riding the walruses who decimate the ship. They return with the head of the Borks. And it's like the king's like, that's not the Borks. That's the Bozaks, one of our closest allies. And then his assistant's like, so that's why the presents have been washing up on shore. It's shows again, dark humor with cutaway gags. You can see that they're trying to channel a little bit of Family Guy in a way that's more Simpsons-esque than maybe Seth MacFarlane, but you can see they're trying that, which that was actually really funny. And then, you know, the Mercumer's talking to Elfo and really, really, really wants to, like, you know, perform for Bean, but he's drained, like literally drained. And as a result of that, drinks the pig's blood and then turns into a pig, and then the pig turns into Mercumer, which again, that was interesting thing too. Why would they switch bodies like that? That's not something that's explained at all. So I thought that was interesting, and I definitely want to see what comes out of that with the next episode. But again, it's a good follow-up episode to it. It wasn't like a great deal of jokes, but they were definitely like setting the stage. This is one of the problems when you have like new TV shows is they have to establish the world and they have to establish the setting. And so the first couple episodes, unless they have an arc that they're already starting with that you can already lump onto or get involved with, like emotionally or whatever, then it's a little easier to digest those. But I feel like this was one that's kind of just pushing the story along, but still going a little bit further to establish the world and the characters. Again, not a lot of jokes, but not bad. And this one was written by David X. Cohen, which is why I think this one felt more like Futurama in terms of its, I guess you could argue maybe story progression, relying more on sight humor and like the characters rather than actual gags. And I'm not saying it wasn't smartly written, because I think Futurama for the entirety of its run, both on Fox as well as on Comedy Central, was very smartly written. But I look at this situation, I'm like, okay, you can kind of see where they're coming from. So I am hoping that the show, that the next episode, The Prince of Darkness, it starts to pick up the humor. From what I've been told from friends who have seen it, the show doesn't necessarily get really going until around episode 4. So stay tuned for episode 3's review. And then we'll talk about that and what goes on with that. And then I'll talk to you guys then. Of course, be sure to leave your comments below. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This has been 3 Buck Theater. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a fantastic day and peace out.